Good morning. After watching the tape, my feelings were the same as after the game. I thought we took a step backwards on Saturday. I did not think that we played with the emotion, the intensity, the physicality, and the competitiveness that we played the week prior. That's the disappointing part of Saturday, is that I thought that we could take that next step and be more consistent. And we did not play good defense. We did on offense, we did not run the ball. We turned the ball over, and obviously had major chances of converting explosion plays and did not. We were not good on third down, and then in the kicking game, we lost the hidden yards battle by 35 yards. So overall, all three phases, I did not think we played well. We felt after watching the tape that up front on offense, we were beat up front. And looking at defensively, we thought our front seven had a tough day also. On the positive end, I thought the Jordan Anderson, our young safety, played extremely well. I thought Hudson played extremely well for a freshman. So there was some positives that we were able to take out of it. But overall, out of all the games that we played this year, this is one of, I thought, most disappointing performances.
That young secondary, Caleb gets a touchdown, and then you have the two true freshmen are playing. As tough as that has been at times, do you see those kids getting better incrementally each week?
No doubt about it. I thought both of them took huge steps this week, and that's great. I think both of them are going to be really, really good football players in the near future. They're learning on the fly. I thought Jordan Anderson, for being young, played an extraordinarily, really well, really good football game.
About Western Michigan, what do you see in your opponent?
Very similar to Toledo. I think they're one of the best teams in the conference, hands down. I think Tim has done a great job recruiting. You can tell that their culture is right. You see it on the tape. You can feel it on the tape. They're extremely competitive. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They've got talent, and it'll be a challenge. We got to go up there and we got to match their intensity. We've got to run the football. We got to stop the run, limit it to a throwing fest, and obviously limit their big plays, and let's make our plays when plays present themselves. So yes, to answer your question, I think they're one of the best football teams in our conference, hands down.
Specifically with big plays, I mean, they have their quarterbacks in the top 10 in passing yards, running backs in the top 10 in rushing yards. Yep. They're dangerous in the return game. How cognizant do you have to be of those chunk plays?
You got to be locked in. Very similar to any time that you play a really good football team. It's all going to come down to turnovers. It's going to come down to who runs the ball better, who stops the run, and who makes the most explosion plays. And on offense, besides the turnovers, that was the most disappointing thing, is we had beyond ample opportunity to make some huge explosion plays which would have kept us in the game, and we didn't make them. So this week we got to make them, and we got to stop them, plain and simple.
You guys have had a lot of running backs featured this year. How hard has it been to kind of game plan for your opponent with kind of the lack of consistency at running back, considering the injuries to Claire and now it's Von Jones?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of running backs. We've been playing Davon Jones and Denley, who are our two scholarship guys. Claire has been our third and has been banged up all year. So we knew probably the biggest reason why we brought Davon Jones here is because we had two running backs on scholarship. So we'll got to get our numbers right. We need 5 scholarship running backs, and that probably will not occur till year 3, just because of the other needs at the other positions. So to answer your question, we're extremely thin there, and you can't be thin when we're trying to run the football at that position. You need to have 5.
Did you get updates on Davon and Carl Brooks?
Yeah, we'll know more at the end of the week, their status.
Do you have an update on Neverov as well, that left guard? I know you said last.
He'll be out this week. Hopefully back in the fold versus Akron.
Offensively, one of the things you guys did in the summer was move Quentin to tight end. Receptions-wise, he's been up there among tight ends. How has he taken to that position now that he's been in it for a couple months?
He's a prototypical hybrid. He's a very difficult matchup player. When we evaluate, we did a self-scout of us over the last 6-7 weeks, however long we've been playing. And he should be leading the country right now in receptions, period end. He is a difficult matchup player. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. We can put him all over the field, and he's going to be a really good football player and highly productive football player here in the near future. He's productive now, but it'll go through the roof here soon.
Watching the Toledo tape, he made some difference-making blocks in the running game.
He did.
How much of a project was that to get a receiver in there in the box to do stuff that?
Yeah, that's always the challenge. You know, you want to take and create that hybrid position. It generally comes from a big wide receiver, a big quarterback that normally moves into that position. So you have to teach him how to block. And he's got extreme power. He's strong. He was one of those guys that Kevin Tolbert was able to take and get strong really fast. He's naturally strong. And he's going to be a big-time player for us. There's no doubt he is a big-time player for us, but I think we're just scratching the surface with him. He could be a guy in the near future that definitely leads the nation at his position catching the football, no doubt.
You mentioned last week the amount of time that he was putting in the weight room to get stronger, to be able to play inside on the line. And so just kind of where was his excitement at when you guys came in and told him, hey, we're thinking about moving you to this spot?
Yeah, he wanted it, to be quite honest with you. You know, he was a guy that's big and had to fight his weight to stay at wide receiver. Now he's able to eat and get big and strong, and he doesn't have to diet. He doesn't have to worry about what his weight needs to be right now. But he's really, his body type's exactly what you want for that position. He's natural. He's only going to get better. This is his first year doing it. I think he'll become even tougher in the run game than what he is right now, just because he's got potential, he's got explosion, he's got strength. He needs to learn a little bit and acquire a little bit better technique. But to answer Nick's question, he's been blocking extremely well for a guy that is his first time being in that position. So I think the future is so bright for him, it's ridiculous.
Sides of the ball, obviously in the secondary, freshman receiver, things of that nature. Where do you feel like you guys are at? Obviously with the 2 wins, but is there some excitement that some of these young guys have already stepped in and shown that?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think, and we'll see even more youth here in the near future, just because we're getting to that point where we're able to play them and still save their redshirt year. We're going to play as many of them as we can to see where they're at. But yeah, it's exciting. Jordan Anderson is exciting. Being able to watch Hud really grow over these last 6 weeks is super exciting. And the biggest, going back to the disappointment, is that this consistency of how to do business and this consistency with intensity, competitiveness, is our biggest challenge right now. And we need to get over the hump there. That's why in recruiting, besides the physical aspects and besides if a kid can make it academically, the number one thing I want to know, number one, is he a team captain? And number two, does he love to practice? Does he love the grind? Because when you have a bunch of people that love to practice, you get better and you win games. So that's the biggest challenge that we have right now, is that next step, and it's always the hardest step. Every rebuild place that I've ever been a part of, that's the hardest thing to get done, because again, there's no player that has seen how it's supposed to be done. It's a bunch of coaches saying how it's supposed to be done. And the only way that occurs is a bunch of players get together and they figure it out. And it's something that doesn't happen overnight, unfortunately.
I heard Frank Solich say one time that smart kids get better. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking to develop a kid for 4 or 5 years, is there anything that you can look at in his academic profile or in his football IQ that tells you that he has a high ceiling? There's
no doubt about it. That's going back to the recruiting question. We're recruiting, first off, we got to find out physically if you're good enough. And then obviously, do you have the great character that we want here? Are you going to be able to make it academically here? Are you a leader? Do you love it? But that intelligence thing is absolutely dead on. Smart guys find a way to figure it out. They get better. And right now, looking at the transcripts, looking at the SATs, we're recruiting smart kids right now. And that's a huge advantage for sure. And that doesn't mean at times there's some kids out there that are maximizing and they're a 2.5 student, but if they're trying their hardest and they're a 2.5 student and they're maximizing who they are, yeah, those guys can play too because they're maximizing who they are. It's the guys that are supposed to be getting 3.5s that have 2.0s that you want to stay away from because they're not maximizing what they're supposed to be doing in the classroom, so how are they going to maximize what they're supposed to do on the football field? So we're looking for guys that can maximize who they are academically, and more than likely that'll carry over to the football field. Yes, to answer your question, it's intelligence, but it's also people that can maximize their ability.
Can you think of someone in your career that really surprised, largely because of intelligence?
In terms of
who might not have been like a highly heralded recruit who.
Almost every quarterback that I've been associated with, they're all very high academic guys, very high ACT guys, but again, they're guys that are maximize their capability.